Okay, my friends, another day, another video. Right, before I start today, I'd just like a shout out to my pal Peter, who is a regular on here. He views the channel regularly. He started his own channel. He goes under the name of West Coast Book Addict, so look him up. He'll be very pleased to hear from you. He's got about 3 videos up at the minute, and I'm sure he'll be pleased to get a few more views, maybe a few more subscriptions. So if you wouldn't mind helping him out, I'd appreciate it, and he'd appreciate it even more. Okay, today we have a look at my science fiction paperback pickups for late May. Got some nice stuff actually from my point of view. So we'll, without any further ado, we'll kick off straight away. Now, I think it's a pick of the bunch for me actually, because there are certain items that, because I read a lot back in the 60s and 70s, there are certain items that have a great nostalgic resonance for me, and this is one such. Now, when I was about 12, I started reading the Penguin science fiction books, H.G. Wells, John Wyndham, Fred Hoyle, a few more, and they were fairly staid in their presentation. I mean, they're what they call orange and whites. And they weren't very exciting. And I remember in 1963 it would have been, I walked into a corner shop and I saw this. I thought, wow, what a brilliant cover. And I mean, that's one of the iconic covers of the period for me. As you can see, the silver logo. This is actually the second printing of this new edition. I had the first printing way back when, so as I say, that would have been 63, this is 65. So yeah, I was delighted to pick that one up. It wasn't cheap, you know, it was, I think, my first foray on, excuse me, it was my first foray onto Etsy actually. And I mean, for an old book, it's not in bad condition. And I think that cost me £9. But I didn't mind paying it because I've seen copies on eBay more beat up than that, and you know, they're wanting 15, 20 quid, which I wasn't prepared to pay. So anyway, that was the first one that I was very pleased about. Now, this little lot I picked up from my usual charity shop, which is the only charity bookshop I know. Deal exclusively in books. And I actually went to my normal place and it was all modern stuff, and I wasn't in the mood for contemporary. But then, fortunately, I had to look around the front of the shop where I don't normally go. I must have known something. And I found a few actually vintage SF books there, which I was delighted about. But then amongst the modern stuff was this. Cyberpunk. Pocket Essentials Literature. Basically, it just explores the cyberpunk movement and gives you a bit of information about the main authors in that genre and the books. Just a slim volume, but I thought it was interesting. I wasn't aware of it, so yeah, I was quite pleased to pick that up. I mean, all these I'm going to show you here are just a couple of quid, so you know, not bad at all. Okay, we move on. One Edge of Tomorrow, Howard Fast. And that's a Corgi edition. It's actually, most of these vintage ones I picked up are either anthologies or collections, which I rather like, because I read a lot all those years ago. This is... Actually, I didn't realise this, Howard Fast. He was the author of Spartacus, it says on the back here. That's a new one on me. This one was a reprint of an earlier printing, 1963. So that goes back even further than my Silver Locust there. This is one I remember having a long time ago. Third Eye. Yeah, unfortunately, I had a sticker ripped off there, but I mean, you expect that sort of thing on these really old books. That's an American Belmont edition, not in bad shape. I would guess this is mid-60s, or later 60s. That's 1968, and that's a first US printing. And there again, it's a collection of stories by Theodore Cogswell. Not familiar. I am familiar with this fellow. He's written a million books. It seems that way anyway. Robert Silverberg, that's the best of. Very nice shape, as you can see there. This is an Orbit book, obviously a little bit later. Yeah, it's a first UK paperback from '78. With a nice, I don't know, that Chris Foss cover there, but it's very striking. So yeah, that was another nice little pickup. Right, this is it's an older book. I think I only got one in this series, the Galaxy Readers, 9th, I believe, but this is the 8th anyway. Again, for an old book in very nice condition. That's just a pencil price on the front there, so that'll easily rub off. This is a 1960s book, precisely. 1966. Okay. Seems to be a first UK printing. Right, another best of. I just spoke about Death World by Harry Harrison in a couple of videos ago. And that's the best of. Again, an Orbit book like the Silverberg, and once again in very nice condition. I would imagine mid-70s again. Yeah, first UK printing from 1976. In a rather interesting cover there. So I'm always moaning about this, but they never credit the artists on these UK books. So I haven't a clue who did it. Right, talking of Harry, another couple here. 2008 Tomorrows. That's obviously a bit, again, as you can see, in a very nice nick. Again, this will be late 70s, I would imagine. Yeah, 76, first UK paperback. And then here he is again, prime number. I already have this actually, but it's one of those, I think it is Sphere Books, that has no author on the spine. For some reason, I don't understand that, and it has no author's name on the spine, and I rather like this cover better anyway, so I decided to replace my copy with that one, which is rather nice. And this one will be a bit earlier than the one I've got, 1975, so again, you know, very nice shape. I mean, it's hardly been read. Right, here's another. That was those last two collections by Harry. Right, this one's an anthology. Possible Tomorrows. Groff Conklin, I love that name. Groff Conklin. He did a lot of anthologies back in the 60s, 70s. One's a coronet book again, in perfectly sound condition. And that one hails from 1973. It looks like a first UK printing also. Okay, what have we got in there? Oh no, it's oh yeah, it is strange. It is an anthology, but it neglects to mention the authors. But there's a Kingsley Amis in there, and Isaac Asimov, James Schmitz, who I recognise. The others I don't. Right, now we move on. This was one of the contemporary books I bought. Skies of Pern. I've got the Dragonflight. I think that was the first Pern book. But yeah, this was a nice solid edition for a couple of quid. So I thought I'd pick that up. It's a little bit water damage on the front there, but nothing that particularly bothers me. The rest of it's fine. And I would imagine that's from the 2000s. Actually, there's a list of all the Pern books in there, and there's millions of them. Yeah, this one's a Corgi edition from 2002, first UK printing. Okie doke. Right. Now you don't catch many Ballard Books, J.G. Ballard Books in groups, what do you call them? My brain stopped working. You can buy lots of books in one lot, job lots. That's the one. So yeah, I was pleased to get that one. Disaster Area. Again, it's a collection of short stories, but yeah, I don't have many ballads, as I say, simply because you don't see many of his books up at a decent price. Again, in very nice condition. I don't think that one's been read at all. Right, and now we move on to some stuff that I was really, really pleased with, apart from the Ray Bradbury at the start there. And these are the, got about 5 of the pound lozenge editions, which I have started collecting. The so-called lozenge because of the delivery. This is Alfred Bester's Starburst. Now, I only have, apart from the 2 famous ones, Demolished Man and Stars My Destination, I only have another one Bester, so yeah, that was a nice addition. That one actually was only a couple of quid. I was pleased with that one. The price of these lozenge editions are going up. Everybody must have cottoned onto them. And yeah, that is a collection of Bester stories, and it was published in 1977. Most of these lozenge editions were late 70s and early 80s. Now these next couple are very, very, very hard to find at a decent price. I mean, that particular one was, I think it was 8 quid. But if you look online, in this sort of condition, I know it's got a little crease on the cover there, but that's acceptable. I mean, Harlan Ellison books are fairly quite expensive anyway, but this being one of the lozenge editions, yeah, I've not seen one in single figures anyway. So yeah, that was an 8 quid buy. That was from a local bookshop, the only local bookshop in my area, in fact. Excuse me. So yeah, I was delighted with Deathbird Stories. Actually, that is my favourite Ellison collection. And then we have, of course, the famous, again, Dangerous Visions, the second group of stories in that series. That is book 1, again in very nice condition. A little bit suntanned there, but nothing. You can still see the spine quite well. That was, I think, about £6 that one. But as I say, there again, they're very hard to find. These particular editions in single figures, and they say to split it. It's a large volume, and that's the second volume. Again, absolutely mint. So, you know, when I'm collecting a series like that, I say normally I don't mind books that are a bit beat up, because that's the way I used to buy them, as I said many times in the past. But when I'm collecting a specific group of books, I like to have them in as good a condition as possible. And the other one I picked up, this wasn't quite so expensive, Decade, the 1960s by Brian Aldiss and Harry Harrison. Again, I don't think it's been read. A little sticky bit at the bottom there, which I shall remove. I mentioned this before, but if you've got a book with a little sort of sticky bit or a dirty bit on it, just use some floor polish or furniture polish. Just squirt it onto a duster. Take the excess off with a piece of paper or a piece of kitchen roll, which I use. Then just apply it and leave it a minute, rub it over, and it comes up like new. So yeah, that was another anthology in the Lozenge series, and that was it, folks. So as I say, I was quite pleased with that little lot. Next up, I've read a couple of books lately, so in a few days I'll be doing not a review. You know, I don't do reviews, as you know, but I'll be doing an appraisal of a couple of books that I've read. So that's up next, and then after that, I haven't got a clue. So once again, I will thank you for watching, subscribing, commenting and sharing, and I will see you very, very shortly. Bye-bye now.